There's something happening in your field right now, a readiness, a resonance you've been building toward without even knowing it. And if you've been drawn to this message, if something inside you recognizes the words, activate this frequency now, it's because your system is finally prepared to hold what it's been reaching for. Let me show you something most people never discover about abundance. The reason you haven't experienced the flow of resources, opportunities, and wealth you know is possible. It has nothing to do with your worthiness, your effort, or how many manifestation techniques you've tried. The block isn't spiritual. It's not even emotional. Not really. It's electromagnetic. Your nervous system has been running a frequency pattern that literally repels abundance at the quantum level. And until this pattern shifts, no amount of visualization or affirmation will override it. Here's what I mean. You've probably noticed something strange. People around you who seem to barely think about money, who don't meditate or do inner work, who aren't particularly spiritual or self-aware, they have abundance flowing to them effortlessly. Meanwhile, you've done everything. You've visualized, you've affirmed, you've cleared blocks, released limiting beliefs, worked with the moon phases, tried every manifestation protocol you could find. And still, the abundance you're calling in either trickles in, slowly, or doesn't come at all. This isn't because you're doing it wrong. It's because most manifestation teaching is fundamentally backwards. Every time you sit down to visualize the abundance you want to create, every time you affirm, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am prosperous, your nervous system is detecting a lie. Not because you're not worthy of wealth, but because the very act of trying to convince yourself of something you don't currently have sends a signal to your autonomic nervous system that says, I lack this, I need this, I don't have this yet. And that signal, that frequency of lack, of need, of future-oriented desperation, becomes the instruction your electromagnetic field broadcasts into the quantum field. The field doesn't respond to your words, it doesn't respond to your visualizations, it responds to your coherent electromagnetic signal. And if that signal is encoded with lack, with striving, with the frequency of not yet, the field matches it perfectly every single time. This is why the harder you've chased abundance, the faster it's moved away from you. Now, before you think this means you're trapped, before the part of you that's tried so hard starts to despair, let me tell you what's actually happening, the struggle you've experienced with abundance, all the times you've tried and felt like you failed, all the frustration and confusion about why it works for others but not for you. None of that has been wasted. It's been preparation. See, most people can't hold the abundance frequency. Not really. They might experience temporary windfalls, sudden influxes of money or opportunity, but they can't sustain it because their nervous system hasn't been conditioned to regulate that much energy, that much flow, that much expansion without collapsing back into fear. You're different. Your nervous system has been going through a recalibration process. Every time you've reached for abundance and hit resistance, your system has been learning, adapting, building the capacity to hold a level of coherence that most people never develop. You've been strengthening your ability to stay stable in expansion. You've been training for this, and now you're ready. The abundance frequency isn't what you think it is. It's not just high vibration. It's not positive thinking or gratitude or any single emotional state. The abundance frequency is a coherent alignment between three systems: your electromagnetic field, your autonomic nervous system, and your consciousness. When these three systems align in a state of present moment sufficiency, not future hope, not past regret, but right now okayness, they create what's called quantum coherence. And quantum coherence generates a gravitational effect in the field around you. Think of it like this. Every thought, every emotion, every belief you hold generates an electromagnetic signal. These signals are usually chaotic, scattered, contradictory. One part of you wants abundance while another part fears it. One part believes you're worthy while another part holds evidence of unworthiness. One part reaches for expansion while another part grips onto control. This internal contradiction creates electromagnetic static, and static doesn't attract, it repels. But when your system achieves coherence, when all parts of you align in the same frequency, the same signal, the same truth, something extraordinary happens. Your electromagnetic field stops scattering its energy in 1,000 directions and begins broadcasting a clear, powerful, concentrated signal, and the quantum field must respond to clear signals. It has no choice. It's not personal. It's physics. So the question becomes, how do you activate this coherence? How do you shift from the scattered, striving, lack-based frequency into the coherent abundance frequency? This is where most teaching gets it wrong again. You can't force coherence. You can't manifest your way into it. You can't affirm it into existence, because coherence isn't something you do, it's something you allow. It's a state your nervous system drops into when it finally feels safe enough to stop protecting you from expansion. And here's what most people don't realize. Your nervous system has been blocking the abundance frequency for a very good reason. It's not sabotaging you. It's not broken. It's protecting you from something your system perceives as dangerous. There are 3 locks on your abundance frequency. 3 protective mechanisms your nervous system installed, probably in childhood, probably before you had any conscious say in it, and until these locks release, the abundance frequency remains dormant. Not because you're not ready for it, but because your system doesn't yet trust that it's safe. The first lock is the scarcity imprint. Somewhere in your early development, your nervous system learned that resources are limited, that there's not enough, that survival requires vigilance and control. Maybe you grew up in actual scarcity. Maybe you absorbed it from parents who carried financial stress. Maybe you internalized it from a culture that treats abundance as something rare, something only special people deserve, something you have to fight for. However it got there, this imprint lives in your autonomic nervous system now. And every time you reach for abundance, this imprint activates a stress response. Your system literally interprets expansion as a threat, because expansion means leaving the familiar zone of scarcity, which your nervous system equates with safety. The second lock is the worthiness filter. This one's more subtle. You might consciously believe you're worthy of abundance. You might have done years of worthiness work. But deep in your subconscious, there's a regulatory mechanism that monitors how much good you're allowed to receive based on some invisible equation of deservedness. This filter measures everything. How hard you worked, how much you suffered, how good you've been, whether you've earned it, whether others have less, whether you're special enough, chosen enough, pure enough, and if the amount of abundance trying to flow to you exceeds what this filter believes you've earned, it shuts down the channel. The third lock is the identity mismatch. This is the deepest one, the most hidden, and the most powerful. Your sense of self, your identity, the story of who you are, was formed in a particular context. Maybe that context was struggle. Maybe it was being the one who never quite makes it. Maybe it was being humble, small, not too much. Maybe it was being the helper, the giver, the one who takes care of others. Whatever the identity, it came with a frequency signature. When unturned, your nervous system will do everything in its power to maintain that signature because it equates identity, stability, with survival. So when abundance tries to enter your field, when opportunities start appearing that would require you to be someone different, someone who receives easily, someone who has plenty, someone who takes up space and owns their power, your nervous system perceives this as an identity threat, and it shuts it down. Not because you're broken, because your system is doing exactly what it was designed to do: keep you consistent, keep you recognizable, keep you safe within the identity container you've known. But here's the truth you're ready to hear now. Those locks, they're not permanent. They were installed by experience, which means they can be updated by new experience. And the reason you're here, the reason you've been drawn to this message, is because your system is finally ready to release them. The activation process has 3 steps. And unlike most techniques you've tried, these aren't about convincing yourself of anything. They're about creating the actual physiological, electromagnetic, and consciousness shifts that allow the abundance frequency to come online. Step 1. Nervous system recalibration. You have to shift your autonomic nervous system out of sympathetic dominance. Right now, most of the time, your system is running in fight or flight mode, not because you're anxious or stressed necessarily, but because the constant low-grade state of seeking, striving, trying to make things happen, that's sympathetic activation. And in sympathetic dominance, your system is biologically incapable of receiving. It's in output mode, push mode, control mode. The abundance frequency only transmits through ventral vagal activation. This is the branch of your nervous system associated with safety, connection, openness, and receptivity. When your vagus nerve is toned and your system drops into ventral vagal coherence, your heart rhythm becomes coherent, your brain waves synchronize, and your electromagnetic field expands and stabilizes. This isn't relaxation, it's not just calming down, it's a specific physiological state where your entire system becomes receptive to what the field is already trying to deliver to you. Here's how you activate it. Find a moment right now, yes, right now, and place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Close your eyes if you can and breathe. Not deep breathing, not controlled breathing, just natural, easy breathing. Let your exhale be slightly longer than your inhale. 4 counts in, 6 counts out. Do this for 2 minutes. As you breathe, let your awareness drop into your body, not your thoughts about your body, your actual felt sense of being inside your skin. Notice the temperature, notice the weight, notice any tension, and just acknowledge it without trying to fix it. This simple practice begins to shift your nervous system out of sympathetic override and into ventral vagal coherence. The more you do this, the more your baseline state shifts. And as your baseline shifts, your electromagnetic field stabilizes. Step 2, present moment sufficiency programming. This is not gratitude practice. Gratitude is beautiful, but it's often future-oriented. I'm grateful for what I have so that I can get what I want. That's still lack-based. Present moment sufficiency is different. It's training your consciousness to recognize that right now, in this moment, you have everything your system actually needs. Not everything you want, not everything you're calling in, but everything required for this exact moment. Because here's what happens at the quantum level. When your consciousness rests in present moment sufficiency, when you're not reaching for the future or resisting the present, your observation of reality becomes neutral. And neutral observation collapses probability waves into form without the interference of fear or desperation. Most people are constantly observing from lack, looking at their bank account from lack, looking at opportunities from lack, looking at their life from not enough yet. And every observation encoded with lack literally creates more lack, because observation is not passive, it's creative. So you train yourself differently. Several times a day, pause, look around, and simply notice, I have air to breathe. I have a body that's functioning. I have consciousness that can perceive this moment. I have ground beneath me. I have shelter. I have something to eat today. This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't bypassing real struggles. This is literal quantum mechanics. You're training your consciousness to observe from sufficiency, and sufficiency-based observation generates sufficiency-based reality. As you do this, your electromagnetic field begins broadcasting a different signal. Not I need, I lack, I want, but I have, I am, I'm here. And that signal, the field, matches it. Step 3. Identity frequency alignment. This is the one that changes everything. You have to become willing to be the version of you that has abundance, not by pretending, not by faking it, but by allowing your identity to update. Right now, there's a future version of you that already exists as a probability in the quantum field. This version has the abundance you're calling in, but more importantly, this version has a different frequency signature, a different way of moving through the world, a different relationship with receiving. And the gap between current you and that version isn't action, it's permission. You have to give yourself permission to be someone who receives easily, someone who has plenty, someone who doesn't have to struggle or prove or earn every bit of good that comes into their life. This might sound simple, but it's not, because permission requires grief. You have to grieve the identity that believed you weren't allowed. You have to feel the sadness of all the years you spent blocking your own abundance because some part of you didn't believe you were permitted to have it. Let yourself feel that, not as a problem to fix, as a recognition of truth. And then, consciously, deliberately, choose the new identity. Not as a future goal, as a present moment decision. I am someone who receives abundance easily. I am someone the universe loves to give to. I am someone whose field is so coherent that resources flow to me naturally. Say it. Feel it. Let your nervous system try on this identity. Notice what comes up. Fear will come up. Unworthiness will come up. The old locks will activate. Let them. Don't fight them. Just breathe and stay present while your system adjusts. Do this daily, morning and night, 2 minutes each time. You're not convincing yourself. You're updating your identity frequency. And as your identity frequency updates, your electromagnetic signal updates. And as your signal updates, the field responds. Now, here's what happens when you activate this frequency. It won't be instant magic. It won't be winning the lottery tomorrow. But within hours to days, you'll start noticing things. Small things at first. Money you forgot about shows up. A friend pays back a loan. You find a $20 bill in an old jacket. Someone offers to buy you coffee. A bill is less than you expected. These aren't coincidences. They're the field reorganizing. See, the quantum field doesn't deliver abundance in one big drop. It delivers through the path of least resistance. It starts small, testing whether your nervous system can hold the frequency without collapsing back into fear or doubt. If you can receive the small things without dismissing them, without minimizing them, without saying, "This doesn't count, I need something bigger." If you can receive them with genuine acknowledgement, the field reads that as a green light, and the flow increases. Opportunities start appearing, job offers, client inquiries, ideas that could generate income, people reaching out with resources you need, doors opening that were previously closed. This is the field matching your coherent signal. But here's the critical part. You have to maintain the frequency. Activation isn't one and done. It's daily recalibration, because your nervous system will try to pull you back to baseline. Your old identity will try to reassert itself. The scarcity imprint will reactivate when you see your bank account or hear bad news or compare yourself to others. So you need a daily practice, 7 to 12 minutes, non-negotiable. Morning, 2 minutes of ventral vagal breathing, 1 minute of present moment sufficiency observation, 2 minutes of identity frequency alignment. Evening, same thing, 2 minutes breathing, 1 minute sufficiency, 2 minutes identity. This practice keeps your system in coherence. It resets your electromagnetic field daily. It reminds your consciousness who you're choosing to be. And over weeks and months, this becomes your new baseline. the abundance frequency stops being something you activate and becomes who you are. At that point, you're not trying to attract abundance anymore. You're not manifesting it. You're generating it from your own coherent field. You've become the source. And when you become the source, the external world has no choice but to reflect that back to you. Money flows, opportunities multiply, resources appear from direct ions you never could have predicted. Not because you're lucky, not because you're special in a way others aren't, because you've aligned with the physics of how the quantum field operates. You've stopped broadcasting lack and started broadcasting coherence. And coherence is the language the universe speaks. So if you've been struggling with abundance, if you've tried everything and nothing seems to work, if you've watched others receive while you keep hitting walls, understand this. You're not broken. You're not doing it wrong. You haven't been forgotten or passed over. You've been preparing. Your nervous system has been building the capacity to hold a frequency most people never access. And now, right now, you're ready. Activate the frequency, recalibrate your nervous system, program present moment sufficiency, align your identity. Do it daily, do it with commitment, do it even when you don't see immediate results, because the field is already responding. The reorganization has already begun. Your only job is to stay coherent while reality catches up to your signal. And it will. It always does. The abundance you've been reaching for, it's already reaching back.